Alright guys, so here we are with the game plan for nodes 1 and 2, and these nodes are pretty much the most important nodes in the game besides node 5 as far as preparing for future nodes. So for node 1, we want to clear 90% of the node using as many teams as needed, because basically throughout the rest of the event we're going to be one-shotting all the nodes. We're going to clean up while preparing Ghost Spider, Scarlet Spider, and Dr. Voodoo ultimates. We're going to leave the node as healthy as possible. Then for node 2, we're going to one-shot using Eternals, New Warriors, +1, and we're going to leave with both Eternal ultimates available. So for node 1, we want to take out Lady Deathstrike as quickly as possible, drop that second wave with our first attack, take out all but 2 to 3 enemies with subsequent attacks, then prepare our ultimates for the Web Warriors and Voodoo without taking too much damage. So I'm going to start this party off using the Young Avengers. Given the Scourge that blocks cause stun, you kind of get really messed up with Young Avengers, so they're not good for much else in this event, so we might as well use them here. So Lady Deathstrike is our first kill target. Her speed at 127 with a turn meter rewind and an ultimate that'll erase most characters even at this difficulty of 8. You need to take her out so that your subsequent attacks are much easier to set up and, get some work done with. So right off the bat, you see this is a completely different animal. We're taking so much more damage than we did on difficulties 9 or even 10 of the Rogue event. So don't try and overthink it in difficulty 9, like I said in the previous video. And I will mention, if you don't have Young Avengers for some reason, there's a lot of teams you can come in here and do this with. You can throw Fury in with your X Factor, or you can just throw Uncanny at this. There's lots of options to get this first attack done. And then when we do drop the second wave in, don't panic about the Yo-Yo. Her passive's not active when there's other protectors on the field, and we have both Silver Samurai and Phyla-Vell filling that role. But as you see, Young Avengers, we've only killed 2 people, and we got 3 stuns across the board. Everyone's dying. Squirrel Girl's not going to see another turn, and if she did, I don't think her special's back up yet. So, although they were the all-stars last Scourge, they just can't hang here, even on these 2 opening nodes. But we get as much damage in as we can, and we will actually let this stand. Might look bleak, but it's not that bad. And we go ahead and we get that actually Merc Lieutenant a little bit lower, which is going to help us in the next attack. So I'm trying my best to recommend teams that people have or should be working towards for these events. So next up, we're going to use X Factor because they are used to unlock Adam Warlock, who is still on a top 5 team. Now, they don't have to be super big. Your X Factor does not need to be giant to make this work. Shang-Chi's the MVP. Nick Fury only has to be able to hit his special to give speed up. And then you land the defense down, and Shang-Chi is going to do amazing work. Now, I'm going to get to the point where I can do my Node 5 prep using this team. But if your team isn't strong enough, then you can throw in another team. You can then throw in your Uncanny, even if they're weaker. Phoenix is still going to do a lot of damage. You can throw in Shadowlands, even if they're weaker. They're fast enough that they'll get some hits in as well. So basically what we want to do with this last attack, or last few attacks, is get it down to just 2 or 3 enemies left. But as you see here, Shang-Chi, who you should have built as he is a skill rate MVP character, as soon as he gets that first attack off, he does a lot of work. I will mention, Silver Samurai on this node is an absolute beast. He does so much damage. So when you get the opportunity to take him out, go ahead and do it. But be mindful that Phyla-Vell does tend to die to splash damage. So if Phyla-Vell's already dead and you're about to kill Silver Samurai, be prepared to deal with the Yo-Yo. Hopefully you've brought them down evenly. But yeah, so my team took this really well. They did a lot of damage very quickly, so I actually had to slow down here, start using only basics. You're going to see I get a couple of options of using AoE abilities and even using the Shang-Chi heal. And I just don't, because I want my team to die now. Only 2 enemies left. If they're at full life, that makes the next attack a little bit difficult. So if we can get somebody to like red or both of them to yellow, that's optimal. But we do need Voodoo to take at least 2 turns, so we don't want them both in the deep red. That won't do us any good. Especially if we have the Scourges on that increase the cooldowns needed for ultimate and special, then we need to get another turn in there. So now we're going to do our node prep. I'm not going to bother showing a kill order for this. Obviously, we're just going to take the last 2 people out as we can. But what I will say here is that I brought Spider-Man in. I could have and probably should have brought Spider-Punk in because his ultimate, having that prepped, will help you in Node 5. It's not mandatory, but it'll help you. And I will also mention, you want at least one character here who's going to protect your other characters. So I have Red Guardian. He just has that on-spawn taunt. I'm actually going to do a misplay, but if I had taunted when he got his second turn, then he would have tanked some more damage as well. Right there, which would have been helpful, but instead I just basic like a dum-dum. But yeah, we want someone who's going to protect us or give energy, because we need our characters to end at around 90% life. Again, right there, could have used the basic. Just being silly. And there you have it, guys. That is the perfect setup for Node 5. You'll see in a later video why we did that, how important it is, and how much it's going to save you frustration and time. So now, moving on to Node 2. What we want to do here is we want to clear this node as quickly as possible for efficiency points, and we want to end it with the Eternal Ultimates up. Kestrel being alive would be a bonus. So right away, if your team is too strong, you can go ahead and put in Surfer, but if you do use Surfer, you need to land that ability block on Captain Sam or it can get yucky. To do that, you need to make sure Icarus goes first. You might have to reset a bunch for that, or you need your cloak to land the slow on him with his ultimate. That's not always guaranteed. But likely with the Scourges, Maria is going to open with ultimate, so you don't want her to take her first turn. That cleanse can be really problematic. You know, just reiterate what cloak is needed for. So you see, this node goes like the blink of an eye. This is very, very heavily invested in raid characters, your Eternals, your new warriors, and Kestrel. So you should be able to get through this pretty easily, and I will say I've been doing Doom 3, and all these characters are still in play and they're still useful, so you shouldn't feel bad about investing in them. The only problem I have now is that my team was so strong that I'm staring at these offense up characters. I have the ability to ult, but in doing so, I would not get my Eternals ultimates back up. You see, Icarus still needs 3 turns. I think Cersei needs 2. So I need to slow play this, and to do that, I need to be careful with the Kestrel pings. So we're going to avoid attacking anybody with defense down, and optimally, I would like to use Kestrel's attacks into defense down targets, or into non-defense down targets, and one of the defense down targets is going to clear. Like you're going to see here, Red Guardian is going to clear that defense down, and now I have him as a target. And that's just to min-max the amount of turns you're going to get. It actually works out really well for me here. So again, we're just avoiding the defense down targets. But now we have no option, which is fine. And here we go. Icarus only needs that one last turn, so he is now prepped and ready to go, and so is Cersei. So this is a success. Alright guys, I hope you found that informational, maybe a little entertaining at the same time. Node 1 is the most important takeaway from that. I know Node 2 went by in the blink of an eye. That's just by way of the characters that you're using on that node. If you don't have Eternals, that's going to be a big problem for you in the Cosmic section. But if you don't have new warriors, then you could probably attack that node with other characters. Again, you can go in with your Uncanny team if you have them, just to do a little bit of damage before you send Eternals in. So maybe Icarus will get a double tap, and you can just snowball it that way. You can probably throw in a full Secret Avengers team to do a bunch of damage to it. For sure, that would work. Your options are going to be limited based on what you needed to do in order to get through Node 1 and prep your web warriors. So that's where the difficulty comes in. But if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, and have fun. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully in 3 hours, we'll have another one coming out.